Life on Earth has been evolving for over 3.5 billion years. Evolution explains how species change over time due to the environmental pressures, from microscopic cells to complex organisms. Every living thing has adapted to survive. In this presentation, we'll explore the evolutionary theories. Evolution is the process of genetic change in population over generation. It helps explain biodiversity and adaptation. Mutation, natural selection, and genetic drift shape life as we know it. Scientists have developed theories to understand how species evolve. Before Darwin, most believed species were fixed and unchanging. Aristotle classified life into a hierarchy, and religious views supported the idea of divine creation. However, fossils and biological discoveries suggested that species had changed over time. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck proposed that organisms acquire traits during their lifetime and pass them to offspring. He believed organisms could change their bodies through effort and use. Though later disproven, his ideas were an early step in evolutionary science. Lamarck thought that ancestral giraffes stretched their neck to reach high leaves, making them longer. He believed this trait was inherited by offspring. However, we now know that evolution works through genetic inheritance, not physical effort. Charles Darwin proposed natural selection, the idea that organisms with beneficial traits survive and reproduce. Over generations, these traits become more common. Unlike Lamarck, Darwin argued that evolution happens through inherited genetic variation. While traveling on the HMS Beagle, Darwin studied finches on the Galapagos Islands. He observed that each island's finches had different beak shapes, adapted to their food sources. This led him to the idea that species evolved through natural selection. A well-known example of natural selection is the peppered moth. Before the Industrial Revolution, light-colored moths blended with trees. When soot darkened trees, darker moths survived better. This shift in population shows how environmental change drives evolution. Hugo de Vries introduced the mutation theory, suggesting that evolution happens through sudden genetic mutations. He studied plants that produce offspring with new traits. This helped explain how new variations appear in populations. The modern synthesis combines Darwin's theory with genetics. It explains that mutations create genetic variation, and natural selection favors useful traits. This theory remains the foundation of evolutionary biology today. Evolution happens at the genetic level. Population genetics studies how gene frequencies change over time. It examines how natural selection, mutation, genetic drift, and migration influence evolution in species. Understanding these genetic shifts helps scientists track how species evolve and adapt to their environments. For natural selection to occur, four things must happen: variation within a species, inherited traits, competition for survival, and reproductive success. Over time, the best adapted organisms pass their traits to future generations. These factors drive evolution by gradually shaping populations over time. Speciation happens when populations of the same species become isolated and evolve separately. Over generations, genetic differences accumulate, creating new species. This explains why different species exist in different environments. This process explains how biodiversity increases over time. Fossils provide a historical record of evolution. Transitional fossils like Archaeopteryx show traits of both dinosaurs and birds, proving evolutionary links. By studying fossils, scientists can trace species development over millions of years, confirming that life has changed dramatically over Earth's history. Comparative anatomy provides evidence for evolution. Homologous structures like the limbs of humans, whales, and bats share a similar bone structure, despite different functions. This suggests that these species evolved from a common ancestor, modifying their limbs to adapt to their environments.
Vestigial structures are the body parts that no longer serve a purpose but were useful to ancestors. Examples include the human appendix and the whale pelvis bones. These structures show how species have changed over time. DNA comparisons reveal evolutionary relationships. Humans and chimpanzees, for example, share over 98% of their DNA. By analyzing genetic similarities, scientists confirm how species are related through common ancestry.
Humans evolved from primate ancestors over millions of years. Early hominins like Australopithecus walked on two legs but had small brains. Later species like Homo habilis used tools, and Homo sapiens developed complex language and culture. Fossils, DNA, and archaeological evidence confirm a revolutionary journey. Evolution is still happening today. Bacteria evolve resistance to antibiotics, insects develop resistance to pesticides, and animals adapt to climate change. These rapid changes shows that natural selection is constantly shaping life, proving that evolution is not just a theory about the past, but a process we see today.
The theory of evolution explains the incredible diversity of life on Earth. It connects all living things through common ancestry and helps us understand how species adapt and change. Evolution is one of the most important scientific discoveries shaping our understanding on biology and the natural world.